does it mean to build a legacy on your own terms? Hi, I'm Tanya Hendrix, and this is Legacy Her Way, the podcast where we explore how women are creating powerful personal legacies through family, faith, business, community, and beyond. From foster moms to founders, creatives to caregivers, we go beyond the buzzwords and talk about real life, real impact, and the values that guide it all. Whether you're building wealth, raising kids, or launching your next big thing, this space is for you. This episode is sponsored by Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer, LLC, where we empower your vision and secure your future through estate planning and trademarks. So let's talk legacy. Her way, your way, and today, Sonja Enfinger's way. So today's guest is someone who is building a powerful personal legacy for herself and for others. Sonja Enfinger is a wife, mother, entrepreneur, and lifelong servant leader. You're going to hear a lot about her service to the community in this episode. Earlier in her career, she was a physical therapist, and she was part of leadership at Crestwood Medical Center. She later shifted her focus to family, community, and business. She joined Enfinger Companies 15 years ago and is currently the board vice president. She manages several Huntsville area neighborhoods, always working to connect people and foster relationships. Her passion for health and wellness also led her into nutritional entrepreneurship, where she helps others improve their well-being and build greater time freedom. She has a global health and wellness business with Partner.co, allowing her to help people achieve their physical, mental, and financial goals. Sonja's deep commitment to service is reflected in her leadership across numerous nonprofits, including Leadership Huntsville, Connect Class, C26, Best Class Ever, Rotary, WEDC, and then she is now newly appointed. There's so much to talk about here. She is newly appointed to Reverse It with Diabetes as a board of director on the board of directors, and is chairing their second annual Diabetes Summit at the Westin on October 5th. She also serves on the Committee 100 and will be instrumental in helping with their upcoming 30-year celebration. Above all of this, Sonja's mission is simple. She wants to help people live healthier, more connected, and more purposeful lives. And as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, she is wearing her sash. Sonja was recently crowned Ms Senior Huntsville in Miss Senior Alabama. Her reign began in June. I cannot speak today, y'all. Her reign began in June 2025 and continues through June 2026. So we are in the presence of royalty. Good to see you, Sonja. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here today. Thank you for the time.
Well, we're excited to have you there. That was a mouthful. I couldn't get all of it out. You've been involved in so many things and so many wonderful community organizations. Talk about Leadership Huntsville. I was in Connect. I guess were you in Flagship?
I was in the Flagship program. Yes, I actually served class 13, the best year ever in class 13. Served on every role and then chaired the entire event before I kind of rolled off the board of directors there. It was really great.
Nice. It is. For those of you listening who've never been part of Leadership Huntsville, check it out. It is a wonderful organization. You learn so much about Huntsville, North Alabama, and just meeting some incredible people. But you have also been involved in so many other things. But I want to hear, before we dive into all these other things, let's hear a little bit more about you personally. So tell us about Sonja.
Well, I always think there's not a lot to tell, but when I start talking about it, there is a lot to tell. Yes, I'm a retired physical therapist of 25 years. So that was my first career. And I was the director at Crestwood Hospital. Just love serving people, helping people. And I did that again for 25 years. And the reason I stepped out of that position was actually because I wanted to become a mother. And so Jeff and I have a son, Grant, and he is now 17, soon to be 18. He's a rising senior at Randolph.
Exciting. Right? Very exciting.
Decide what he wants to do in his career, in his life. So having been a mother, now I'm also a grandmother of 5 and love being with the grandchildren and spending time with them and creating a legacy for them as well. So based on the topic of today's event, yes.
Well, let's just stick with legacy for a moment, because you have done so many things throughout your your life and your careers with an S. What does legacy mean at this stage of your life? What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means to me the ability to pave it forward, to try and help create an atmosphere in the journey that I'm in currently. We all are on a journey, whatever your journey is. We're trying to create a legacy that will follow through and last a lifetime for the next generation. Not only my son, my grandchildren, their children's children. And so building a platform, a solid ground and a platform for them to launch from and have their own desires of what they want out of their life, to bring them the stability initially and let them launch into what, again, their career goals are. But legacy really is about who you are, the platform, and how you're trying to help launch somebody into their next arena. So we're all in an arena. It's based on how you want to live out being in that arena.
You mentioned just then your current journey. You got a couple of things I want to follow back up on, but I want to start back when you mentioned your current journey. That's the way you phrase it. So what is your current journey?
It's always been about serving others, connecting others, and also about health and wellness. As a physical therapist for 25 years practicing as the director at Crestwood, I saw so many people that were older but acted younger because of what they did in their lifetime to be healthy and well. And then I saw people that were young but didn't take care of themselves mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, even financially. Has a lot to do with the stress that we might have upon our bodies and minds. And so trying to help foster a better lifelong dream of being healthy and well, that's my current mission goal, is to help people continue in that prosperity of not only wealth but of their health. Really, truly, if you don't have your health, you don't have wealth, and you spend half of your life trying to become healthy. And so that was kind of the shift from the physical therapy arena for 25 years, along with wanting to have my son, and then found a global company that provides 100 clean products. And I'm really all about something that is clean to put into our bodies, that's not synthetic, that's all natural, homeopathic. And I have found a tool to help people achieve those goals as well for the past 7 years. And that's been quite exciting to be able to transform lives through nutrition. Again, going back to the mental, physical, emotional, and even spiritual as well.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about that tool that you found.
Yes, the name of the company is called Partner.co. It's a global company. We're in 64 countries worldwide. We are able to manufacture and ship products from 40 different distribution plants worldwide, and everything that we have is clean. So I actually went and vetted the company, and I went to 6 different states in 5 months to meet the company owners, the scientific advisory board members, so that I could understand what was in my hands. Because when I found the product almost 7 years ago now, it changed and transformed my life in 3 days with just simple products. And so I did my due diligence, my research, brought it back to the city of Huntsville and abroad, and now I love to help people become and stay well. It's so exciting because I even have about 10 doctors that sell our products out of their offices here. So it's for the layperson too. Anybody can have it. Anybody can use it. It's an online business, if you want to call it that. So it's like, I always explain it, it's kind of like Amazon shopping online for whatever you're buying, but you don't get override commissions for that. But this particular company you do, but it's all about health and wellness. What is it that you need for those deposits back into your body that help you then propel into your legacy?
Mm-hmm. And for those of you listening, there will be a link in the show notes to access, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But I do want to say, if you're interested in the products, there will be a link in the show notes. So I want to circle back to something else, because as you just mentioned, legacy, and you want to help people become well and stay well, and you're depositing back into their lives. How are you depositing back into their lives? And I want this to piggyback on what you said earlier. You're building a platform. You want to build a platform that will help launch others into their next arena. So what are you doing that's building that platform so that those people can be launched in the next arena, that they are that you're depositing back into their lives to build that platform?
That's a great question. I actually call it love deposits. It's kind of like actually going to the bank and you make a deposit or withdraw. Well, that's what we do with our health. And so trying to help people to recognize and be intentional about their health is what I do through contacting people and through the circles of the different nonprofits that I'm involved in. And I'm always actually listening for the ask. I'm listening to what they need in their life. Again, I always go back to the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and even financial aspect of what is going on with them. And so when I hear the ask, and it's not like I'm asking for something, but you're listening between the words of what his need is. Mm-hmm. And so it opens the gateway, a way for me to be able to launch them into becoming healthier. Because if you're healthier, your body is your temple. And so you can't serve others if you're empty. If your glass is half empty and you view it that way, and it is, and it's not half full, as we minds shift, you have to shift the mind. It's half full, and so therefore you can have that deposit of healthy nutrition so that you can propel yourself into the arena and be in the arena. I will tell you that I got started in this 7 years ago, and I actually had long COVID, and for 23 months. Everybody has their story about COVID. I did take the shots. There's a lot of debate back and forth about that as well. I just share that with you. We did take the shots, and they did affect me. But on top of that, even though I took them, I did get COVID 4 times. And I had to fight through exhaustion, mental fog, if you will. And the exhaustion kept me in the bed for 1 to 3 hours a day for 20 months. And so talking about being real, now that it's kind of past me, we always try to cover things up and act like, oh, we're all about it and we can take care of anything. And as women, we do. And we put ourselves last. I now share that story to hopefully give somebody else a little bit of hope based on where they are in their journey. And I use COVID as a tool to let them know that the nutritional supplements have helped me tremendously. But, honestly, if we're trying to keep our life together, you need tools. You need strong, bold women like yourself as an attorney. Like, there's so many arenas, when I come back to the word, is because you want to be strong in the arena. And so these are actual homeopathic, natural, clean products that help you to stay strong and bold in whatever your goal is. And so that's how I weave in this global company into my sphere of space and when I meet people. And so, again, I'm always listening for the ask. And that would be in anybody's business, right? Even yours. And so somebody needs a will, an estate planning. That allows you to be able to, hear that, say, hey, I have something. I'm an attorney. I might be able to help you. I can submit and send you some information on it. If you'd like to do a deeper dive, we can set up an appointment, and just kind of do a mini consultation for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, however you do your business. But you're really just always listening for the ask, and I would encourage the audience to do the same. And not to belabor the point, but a lot of times if you listen for the words in between the words, the silence.
Yeah.
And when you do that, then you really can fulfill somebody else's need, not just your own, but their need. And that gifting gives me love deposits back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the key there is listening. You have to listen to what other people are saying or not saying. Like you said, it kind of in between the words, there are messages there that we can pick up on, and listening for those needs and giving back. So you're listening for the needs that they have, not listening and how to respond and how to. So many of us listen trying to find an answer. We want to give an answer rather than give help.
That's right. Or
just to listen. And maybe, sometimes they just need a listening ear. But you mentioned something a minute ago about mindset. How have you had to shift your mindset from you were a physical therapist, you were in the physical therapist world, a very traditional medicine world, and you've shifted your mindset some because you're now, there's often, from my understanding, conflict between traditional medicine and then the nutritional, I won't say supplements or some of the things that I guess partner.co would somewhat be in conflict with some traditional medicine, even though you said some doctors are selling their products. How did you make that shift?
Well, having served as a physical therapist and working with a lot of cancer patients and mastectomy patients was the main group of people that I worked with that had cancer. I found that as a young woman being a therapist, what in the world are we eating? What are we ingesting? What is in our environment that is causing this cancer? And I remember distinctly, I was 27 at the time. And that pivotal moment when I was working with a cancer patient and working on her scar tissue before she went and had reconstruction surgery, you're almost a counselor during those time frames, and you're listening to, again, what their need is. And so sharing with the individuals about trying to be healthy and clean, whatever you're putting on in your body, your environment, even sound, overuse of technology. I mean, we're here on iPads and Zooms and all the things we do to try and communicate with each other. But you have to set that balance too, so that you are grounded in what you're doing. But it originally started as a physical therapist working with cancer patients, and did not want to put things that I had control over in my body or around me. So much so, I went and looked for a clean lipstick that didn't have parabens in it. And so that kind of launched me into being someone that thinks about clean products in the home and around family, friends, etc.
You are a grandmother. You mentioned, I think, 5 grandchildren. If you wrote a letter to a great granddaughter about building legacy, about building a platform, what would that letter say?
Well, I have 3 granddaughters and 2 grandsons. And so I always love to empower women to be bold and brave. So I would call out to Margaret. She's my oldest of the youngest. Well, she's the second oldest, I would say, because my other daughter, she's already in college. But to all of the girls, to be strong, bold, and brave. And whatever you're doing today affects your tomorrow in every arena. Again, I hate to be able to continue to say that, but there's a point behind that, because you can be in the arena and play in the arena, or you can be on the fringes of the arena. So how do you want to live out your life or your legacy? If you're in the arena, you're really having a lot more fun because you are participating, you're actively engaged in helping serve others. Mm-hmm. And again, that is something that is near and dear to my heart, and being able to connect to them. But I would say, dear granddaughter, it is my great joy to be your grandmother, and I am inspiring you to live out your life and your journey to be strong, bold, and brave. And for much is given, much is expected. And so the expectation is that you ground yourself, be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually strong, so that way you can gift your gifts to other individuals as you travel this journey.
What would be some tools that you would encourage your granddaughters to use? Well, one, if they're not in the arena, to get them into the arena. Mm-hmm. But if they're in the arena, what are some tools that you would tell them about being bold and brave in the arena?
It's really important for elders, people that are older, to inspire and encourage, and not sit on the sideline as a young person, because the sooner you can get plugged in, the advice would be get plugged in. Learn to be uncomfortable to get comfortable in sharing and helping other people to get bold, brave, and beautiful, if you will. Mm-hmm. So the terminology I would say would be to help those young individuals not to wait until they're older to step into the arena, but to get uncomfortable, to get comfortable in the arena. And it takes a lot of grit to do that. And somebody else to empower and instill that in them, and a little mentor. And if they didn't have one, perhaps somebody that is taking a liking to them and ask them to be a mentor at a young age. And so if they can connect with another woman in that field of study of what they're looking for to do, then they will be much more powerful and bold.
And speaking of helping others, you have done a lot to help others. What are some ways mentioned the, oh shoot, I just lost it. I mentioned that you have just recently been appointed on the board of directors for Reverse It Diabetes.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, I think that, when we talk about serving, it's based on what your strengths are. You are able to give back and promote, help others. And so Reverse It Diabetes, this is a new book by Dr. Helen Stoddard. And she is the owner of this nonprofit, Reverse It Diabetes. And so it's kind of in alignment with my healthcare arena too. And so when she asked me to serve on the board, I knew that it would go hand in hand with us trying to be healthier so that we can live well long, not just live long, but to live well long. And sometimes it's just the little nuggets that you pick up from individuals that will help you to serve your temple and be the healthiest you can be. So she asked me to serve on the board of directors. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We are hosting a big event at the Westin, our second annual Reverse It Diabetes Summit. And so it'll be an all-day event, and we're super excited to help people, just give them the tools, the knowledge about how they can become healthier. And it really is through food and nutrition, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell us a little bit about being Ms Senior Huntsville. Tell us about that.
Well, it's been quite the journey. I was asked to participate. The board of directors actually reached out to me earlier this year, and June was our pageant, our event. I'd never been in a pageant in my life. I was kind of surprised. Prayed about being in it, because I will say, for all of us, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Yes.
Time allotment. And the older I get, at 61, the more I realize that. Mm-hmm. But I did pray about it, and I felt like it would be a wonderful opportunity for me to meet other strong, bold women at different age groups. Ms Senior Alabama has been a key aspect of helping women of age, seasoned women, wise women, I guess I'll say, to step out, be plugged in, get involved, because by virtue of that, we have a tendency to help us make those connections. And when you have a sisterhood, is proven fact, when you're involved with community of any kind, then that helps the longevity of your life. And so I felt like if I went to the event, I was interviewed twice, then I accepted the role as the delegate for Ms Huntsville, Alabama, through Ms Senior Alabama, and I went through the pageant, was involved in being the People's Choice Awards for the state of Alabama, so that was quite the honor, along with being in the Queen's Court. And being a part of Ms Senior Alabama, our role is to help promote women, seasoned women of all ages, ranging from 60 to 69 is the category I'm in. And I have to tell you, we have a super senior women's group as well through Ms Senior Alabama. And when I got a chance to meet the super seniors, I thought, I've got to get it together. I'm not doing enough, because these women are incredible. So written books, they do all kinds of things. And so they have absolutely inspired me, and it's been my honor and joy to be a part of MSA. And nice. My role at this time as a delegate and being in the Queen's Court is to try and help promote other women businesses and help women understand that life is not over after 60. We're seasoned and wise. This is the time to be able to serve and give back. Just get plugged in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of my audience are women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I think oftentimes when we're in that age range, we either think it's too late to pivot or it's too late to do something. And one of the purposes of this podcast is really encourage women that it's not too late, that if you still have breath, it's not too late to make change. And so I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned the super seniors, and that you have women. I mean, I read out your whole bio earlier, which is a lot, but you're telling me that there are some other women that you're looking up to now that are great role models for you of, I really want to be that when I grow up, or be like that when I grow up. So that's wonderful. Sonja, you have talked about being big, bold, and brave, and that's what you want to pass down to your granddaughters and great granddaughters in the future, who or what inspired you to be big, bold, and brave?
Well, that would have to be my grandmother, who inspired me as a young child to step into myself and take care of myself, learn as much as you can so that you can be self-sufficient and independent and not rely on another person to take care of you, if you will. Because as women, sometimes the mindset might be that we let somebody else take care of us. But you never know what tomorrow brings, right?
Right.
And so it's very important for young women to really take charge of their life, be in control, step out into the greatness of themselves. And my grandmother really was that person that did that. She was raised on a farm. She farmed land. She had to get up very early and start her day at 4 a.m. and would work until the wee hours in the morning for canning and, preparing, et cetera, for her children. And so that grit, that tenacity of stick-to-itness and get it done kind of mentality is really who inspired me. And she was my person. We all have that person that really gets us and knows who we are deep down inside. And they can see things before we actually see them, if you will.
Yeah.
And if we'll receive the information that their guidance and their sweetness and their light that they're shining in us and to us and receive that in that manner, I think that that's part of our duty as well as women to turn around and reciprocate that and give that boldness and braveness to someone else and let them know they too can be bold, brave, and beautiful, if you will, in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you kind of just asked or answered the next question I was going to ask you, which is what do you wish more women knew they could do? Like, what are you doing now that you wish more women knew they could do? Is that being brave? Is that being bold? Or would it be something else?
Yeah, that particular question brings on a lot of thought. Really to get out of your own way. The advice for me to give someone else that's listening to the iPad, to the YouTube and the interview itself would be really to get out of your own way and don't stalemate yourself thinking that you can't or worry about what somebody else is going to think about what you personally want to do. This life is so short, and I think the older I get, the more I know that. And I'm becoming more forward with people in my talk and conversation with them in a sweet, kind, gentle approach, but to help them to know their greatness. And if they'll get out of their comfort zone, out of the fear factor of what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not worthy? What if, somebody's going to say something about my new idea? Just to dismiss that and step into their own intuition about what they crave, that what they want to give back to the world, what they want to give back to their family members to live out their life in fulfillment and be fulfilled in their journey and be fulfilled in their goals and their dreams. And that then leads to the legacy, right? So get out of your own way. Don't worry about what other people have to say, because it's your dream. It's not their dream. And so just lean into that. Lean into the light of the intuition of what your body, your mind, your spirit is telling you to do. And you'll be glad in it.
Absolutely. And that also feeds into the arena. And so when you get out of your own way, when you don't think about what others will say or think or do, then you step into the arena. And, you talked about the arena a lot, and you're probably very familiar with the Theodore Roosevelt quote.
We have it framed in our office, in our home, and our 17-year-old, actually, we had him to read it. And do you know that he memorized that? And He has cited that. And it's actually in Jeff's uncle's book now because it's hanging in our office, and he saw that quote. And Jimmy at 90 wrote a book, and part of it was being in the arena with, Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt.
If you're listening, you don't know what we're talking about, I want to just kind of read that quote, just a little bit of it, because it really matters. It really matters what he says here. As you just heard Sonja talk about how it's impacted their lives as a family. But what Teddy Roosevelt said is, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. So what Sonja and her family have found and seen, and what she's encouraging, is for you to get in the arena. So it's not the critic who counts, it's the man in the arena. And I think, as you've heard Sonja say today during this podcast, get in the arena. Be bold, be brave, get in the arena. I mean, does that kind of sum up some of what you've said today, Sonja?
Absolutely. You can't play on the sidelines, girls and guys. You got to be in the arena. And that's what makes life fun, is actually being in the arena, making something happen. So by you getting out of your own fear factor, out of the comfort zone, making yourself uncomfortable, eventually you will become comfortable in the arena. And so I strongly encourage people just to step into their greatness and be in the arena.
And don't listen to those who are not brave enough to be in the arena.
That's so true, because you don't want any regrets. So we don't want any regrets in our lifetime. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, as I say. No, we want to go out there and just step into your greatness.
Absolutely. So Sonja, if someone wants to work with you, how can they work with you?
Well, I love to receive a phone call or a text. My email is Sonja@SonjaEnfinger.com, and that's with a J, Sonja @SonjaEnfinger, ENFINGER.com. And then a phone call, it's always greater. A text, I love to receive texts. I think a lot of people kind of get inundated with a lot of emails, but I am at 256-508.
Do you want to give your phone number on this podcast?
Well, I don't mind that, but maybe let's just stick with the email, I guess.
Just stick with the email. There'll be a link in the show notes to reach out to her as well, but you probably don't want to advertise your cell phone number on the podcast.
Well, I have so many people within the homeowners associations and all the different businesses we have. I have, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that do have my cell number, and I do receive phone calls. But I'll take your advice at this time.
Yes, yeah, I think that would be best.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Sonja, for joining us today on Legacy Her Way. And one last thing, do you have one bit of advice? I know you've talked about being bold, brave, getting in the arena. Any other piece of advice that you would give to anyone who is maybe on the sidelines of the arena and wanting to dip her toes and get into the arena?
Yeah, so I would encourage you, really, like you just said, to put your foot in. Not just your toe, but put your whole foot in. And then once you do, other people will receive you and they will embrace you and empower you to be your greatness. Just don't stand on the sidelines. Just get out of your comfort zone. Don't be fearful. And don't wait until you think it's a perfect time. I guess that would be a really good piece of advice. Don't wait.
Correct.
Be perfect, because life is not perfect. There's lots of twists and turns. And so just get used to being uncomfortable. And when you do, you'll become real comfortable in your new self.
Well, thank you so much for that, Sonja, and for representing Huntsville as Ms Senior Huntsville. That's exciting. Thank you all for listening to Legacy Her Way. If today's conversation inspired you, moved you, or made you think differently about what legacy means, you're not alone. I mean, get in the arena, guys and gals. Be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review to help more women find inspiration for their own path to legacy. Please be sure you subscribe to the podcast so you get those downloads every week so you do not miss any episode like this wonderful one with Sonja. Until next time, keep building boldly, loving deeply, and living your legacy her way. Bye.